Jazz! Wow! Honda Jazz! Amazing! Honda Jazz. Now, I made that little section of video there because the Honda Jazz is not the kind of car you would normally get that excited by, is it? The Honda Jazz is a Honda, which is a good thing, but it does appear that they've tried to make it as generic as possible to attract a certain type of person, and there is nothing wrong with it. It looks ever so slightly like the first generation Mercedes A-Class. Look at that bonnet compared to the size of my hand. Funny, eh? It looks like a Honda Civic that hasn't finished growing up. There's a long way to go. When it does grow up, it'll be a big car. Headlamps as long as the actual bonnet itself. Any bonnet that is wider than it is long is, in my mind, a bit cute. But this one, it looks not so much cute as they had a bonnet, but they're trying to push it off the front of the car. It's all about the illusion of making it look bigger. But is it though? Because in actual fact, it makes it look smaller. So perhaps it's all about the illusion of making it look smaller, because people like small cars, especially small people or old people. And who likes a Honda Jazz? Yes, old people. Just like the owner of this car. I'm sure he won't mind me saying, but he is fantastically old. And that is why he's got one of these. But is that a bad thing? No, it's not. No, it's fine. You can have an old person's car even if you're not that old. But if you are, it does actually help. So clearly this car was designed to blend in rather than stand out. There's nothing anywhere that makes you think anything. The rear end is somewhat reminiscent of the old one, but has definitely been designed to look smaller than it actually is. Look, the lights are similar, aren't they? That glass is similar. This bit is similar as well. And it is called the Jazz. There's no better name for a car than that. It has 15-inch wheels. It has a 1.4 revvy little engine under the bonnet, which isn't exciting enough for me to show. The doors function as doors and probably don't have an exciting door shut sound, but no, they don't. Do you need an exciting door shut sound? No. So if you haven't got one, you're not going to be obsessed by it. You're more likely to be paying attention to the stuff that does matter. Like the engine I'm not going to show you. And there it is. How compact. Is that really a 1.4? It looks diddy. It's a single cam, and it looks like it would be rather awkward to work on because somebody shrunk the bonnet. If one day you come out to your Honda Jazz and it doesn't start, you call out the RAC or AA. A trained mechanic will turn up, open the bonnet and stick his tongue on the 9-volt battery which is underneath here to see if it's any good. Surprisingly, the cold air feed is in the engine bay rather than underneath the car somewhere. I've had enough of that now. Dare I open the boot? I haven't asked if I can open the boot. Oh, that's good, actually. How interesting, some broccoli, and it has a manual handle. How refreshing. I like that. Close. Close. Step inside to the Honda Jazz, and what do we find? We find an interior that is somewhat reminiscent of the cars of old. Actually, that's not true. I was just looking at the door cards when I thought of that. You see, look at the door cards. That material there, it looks like it could be from the 90s. These switches look like they could be from the 90s. That handle, it doesn't feel like it could from the 90s. No, 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 not that one. Dashboard then starts to look like something more modern, of course, although it still has a handbrake and an actual gear lever. And some physical controls too. Yes, physical controls. Big buttons that you can't miss. Oh, that's a bit wobbly actually. That one is as well. The overall standard of these buttons is not as good as they used to make, but it is sufficient. This small car has the same problem that they have on big cars of this shape, which is the A-pillar extended further out in front of you, meaning that more of the view is obscured. I don't know why. It's just about the shape, isn't it? But actually, do you really need all of this space on the dashboard there? Now, unless you're going to treat it as a van, you've no need. The amount of newspapers and empty packets of crisps you can put on there is astonishing. But I reckon that would spoil its look. There's a variety of cubby holes with holes in so they can have stuff fall out. One here that's almost like a vase. And then more storage space down here. That's a rather curious little shelf, that is. Don't know what you could do with it. What could you do with that shelf? If you have a Honda Jazz, what do you do with that? The moment you put the key in the ignition, it starts beeping. I don't know why. Should we turn it on? Take it out of gear. Oh, and how lovely. What an easy starting car that is. The dashboard illuminated very nicely. It's a rather comforting colour as well. And if you can see there's a picture of the car showing that the door is open. As it goes, I know. Just like the Honda Civic, this is a button to press if you're a lady wearing high heel shoes. And there's another one there for ladies who wear high heel shoes with nails sticking out of them. Well, it's all rather pleasant, but not exciting. Will it be exciting if I drive it? Driving the Honda Jazz. Well, what a wonderful and serene experience this is. It feels almost floaty, like it's a bigger car. It really does. It has a really rather nice, compliant road manner thingy going on. Not that it's exciting to drive, but it just feels very accomplished. Do you know what? This actually feels like it's quite punchy. It's a bit more low down torque than I was originally expecting, and the whole car is just better. The steering's nice, the gear change is slick, the brakes are sharp. What more could you possibly want from a car? Well, I suppose you could want it to look a bit more exciting and have blind spots that weren't really there. Engine sounds lovely. Doesn't rev as high as something like a K series, but it sounds just as good. I like it. It's not got bags of character, but it's nice. It drives much better than I was expecting, and that's a good thing because, well, the exterior of this car wasn't really doing a great deal for me, but now I know on here I can make sure there's a piece of broccoli floating around the back getting battered up, because it will happily do the bends. It's got enough power. It's not fast, but it does pick up as much as you really would need it to do. And it seems to be very economical. The thing on the dashboard saying 48 miles per gallon, that's as good as you get out of a diesel. So what else? Well, gosh, my voice went funny then. I thought I was having a little bit of a helium moment. Why are there not more of these cars on the road then? Why is that? Why is it just old people that drive them? Well, I think it might be down to just ease. It's a very, very easy car to drive. In fact, of all of the cars that I've ever driven, this may well be the easiest car I've ever driven. And there we go, I've said it twice now. But I've got to say it just in case you didn't realise. If you want a car that's easy to drive and easy to probably park, but it's got parking sensors in the back, and is actually quite nimble as well, this is the one to have. Yeah. Okay, what else can I say about it? What it actually reminds me of, ever so slightly, and this will surprise you, is a Rover 25. It has some of that joy to it. Not as much, but it's kind of on its way, which is not entirely surprising, as there is a rather loose connection between the two cars. I mean, rather loose indeed. I mean, you know, how much looser do you want it to be? This car is a bit like having a bag of chips. Oh yes, another food analogy. But that's what it is. It does the job really, really well. It will fill you up, might give you indigestion, but the job's done, satisfied, yeah, and not really a treat. No, I don't know, I'm starting to waffle on a little bit here now. What's going on? Is this, oh, and we didn't want to run that cat over, which is why it's handy that the brakes are good. And look at these folding seats. That's why this is known as the Honda Jazz van. The Honda Jazz, a modern car that actually appeals to a man who likes old shit.